लिखने लगा मैं कर अपना काम होता कोई इंस्टीट्यूट फिर ये ज्यादा हाँ उधर इंस्टीट्यूट गया
अनिल अपने आप को म्यूट करो बच्चा
Hello, good morning. I think ma'am is there. Sarita ma'am, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I have joined, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Welcome, ma'am. I think I should start with the session, ma'am. May I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. So today we are having with us Dr. Please keep yourself mute, everybody. It's my request. So today we are having with us Dr. Sarita Sood, who is gold medalist in PG Psychology. She is PhD net in psychology and presently working as assistant professor in University of Jammu in the Department of Psychology. She has to her credit various scientific papers in national and international journals. Her interest areas are health psychology, applied social psychology, and positive organizational behavior. Apart from teaching and research, she is also involved in conducting training and workshops for employees, teachers, and students. She holds the membership of various professional bodies such as Indian Gerontological Association, International Association of Holistic Psychology, Indian Science Congress Association, Indian Academy of Health Psychology. She is also a master trainer and supportive supervisor for integrated counseling and testing center counselors for the project by Global Funds to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Everybody, please mute yourself. Otherwise, I have to remove the one whose mic will remain on. Please. Yes, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Ma'am, please allow me to share the screen.
Right, ma'am. Right.
Morning, ma'am. Morning, ma'am.
Yeah. Now you can share your screen, ma'am. I've made you the co-host.
So, my dear students, mental health is a very big issue. On this Mental Health Day, the major theme is that mental health is important in this unequal world. There is so much of inequality. People are striving to maintain their well-being, and being a student, you are equally vulnerable to have lot many problems which are related to the stress. So we need to sort it out before it really gets toxic. Hans Sally has said that it's not the stress that kills us. Rather, it is the reaction to it. Think about it. We create stress in our life. The stress is not existing anywhere. It's there in our mind. Today, I'm going to discuss two aspects. First, we'll focus on the awareness of what stress is. Secondly, we will see that how we can help ourselves to become a better individual in this world. The things that you require is pen, pencil, or paper, or you may optionally use calculator. So my question is, do you experience stress? obvious. It is quite obvious. The answer would be yes, we experience stress. How is it possible to live in this world without any stress? We come across numerous situations which are creating stress in us. For an example, when you are in traffic, you feel stressful. You cannot control the situation, you want to go ahead. When you are using social media, don't you feel stressed? We have toxic relationships, people whom we cannot control at all. So obviously the stress is part of our life. So what to do? We are bound to experience this stress. What to do? What can we do about it? It's a big question. So when we feel stress, what are the feelings like? We worry, we feel tensed, we get frightened. Feeling of depression comes on us. Some of us feel anxiety, and anger is also imminent. Let's see, how stressed do you feel? Yes, that's true that we feel stress. But what is your level of stress? I'm going to ask you certain questions. All you're required to do, you have to rate yourself against each question on the rating scale of 1 to 10. You can assign yourself a number against each statement that I'm going to tell you. You can say, I feel that it is 1, it is 2, it is 3, and so on up to 10. 10 is the highest number and 1 is the lowest number. So are you ready for that? Let's see. What is your level of stress? Please keep on writing down the number against each statement because we need to sum up the scores. How stressed do you feel right now? Write down the number against this statement from 1 to 10. I move on to the second one. How stressed did you feel this morning? Think about it. Write down the number. How stressed did you feel yesterday? How stressed do you expect to feel tomorrow? How stressful is your work? How stressful are your friendships and family life? How stressful are your finances? How stressful is your health? How stressful is your commute, travel? How stressful is the community in which you live? How stressed do you usually feel at the start of your day? How stressed do you usually feel at the end of your day? So dear participants, you might have assigned certain score to it. Just do the total, sum up the score, and write it down in the chat box. Whatever the total is for the 12 statements, write it down in the chat box if you feel like. Somebody has got 45, 32. Sona gets 31, 45, good. Masoor gets 18, Asif 34, 29, 31, 33. Yes, good. 45. All right. Okay, let's see. What do these scores mean? Well, if you have scored somewhere between 95 and 120, you are seriously stressed and you really need to take certain steps to get rid of the impact of stress on your life. If you're falling somewhere between 75 and 95, your stress level is still high and you will want to take steps to make sure it gets no higher. Suppose it is 60 to 75. If you have got the score somewhere between this, your life is relatively calm right now. Although some areas of your life may be more stressful than others. And the best is below 60. And I see that in the chat box, most of you have got less than 60. So let me tell you, you are doing great at managing the stress in your life. And you have to carry on. You have to keep on managing the stress. You have to learn more techniques because you don't know what kind of situations might arise in life and you might flicker from below 60. You might shift from below 60 to 75 or beyond that. So you don't want to be there at 95 to 120, certainly not. Now we have been talking about stress, what it is after all. It's just a reaction. When we have excessive pressure in our life, some kind of demands are being placed on us. We are required to do something which is beyond our capacity. We feel stress. We are often worried about it, that what will we do if suppose we fail to manage the things? We are worried about what if I fail to cope up? It is just wear and tear of our minds. It breaks us from inside. We come across the continuous change in our environment. However, when the pressure is greater than the resources that we have, the capacities that we have within us, then definitely we experience that stress. Now just have a look at these events, these situations. Just do eyeballing and see which one is relevant for you. What makes you feel more stressful? Since you are a student at college level, to me it appears that maybe admission, examination, major career decisions, at times physical health, your appearance, relationship with family, partners, and friends, studying, these could be some of the challenging things in your life, which are likely to create stress. And for some other people, it might be the different situations like work, trauma, getting married, change in amount of recreation. So it all depends. How much weightage do you assign to each of these situations? There are different types of stressors. They can be external or they can be internal. Something which is beyond our control, these are the external stressors. And the ones which are within our control, they are called as internal stressors. Like physical environment, social interaction, major life events, and daily hassles. These are the external stressors. Just have a look at physical environment. The amount of noise that we come across, how much decibels of sound is produced. Am I okay with that? If it is too loud, maybe it is creating a lot of stress in me. If the light is too bright or too dim, again, it might create stress. You people are from the science background and you know very well how much these things are likely to affect our behavior. Heat, excessive heat is related to criminal activities. With the heat in the summer, rising of the temperature in the summer, the traffic accidents tend to increase. Reason being, the stress level is increased. If we are in confined spaces, we are not allowed to move, like in prisons, like what happened during COVID-19. It emerged as a great stressor. Not only that, how we interact with others, how do people treat us? Are our relationships good enough? Hope they are not toxic. If people are rude to us or we perceive rudeness in their behavior, if people act bossy, if they are aggressive or they bully you, you are likely to experience stress. There are certain major life events which also create stress. To name some of them: birth, death, failure in examination, life-threatening diseases. The moment you come to know that you are living with a particular disease, you get stressed. Breaking of relationship, so tough to overcome all these things. Daily hassles, very common things in our day-to-day life. When we are commuting, I misplaced my keys somewhere and searching for it. There is some kind of mechanical breakdown. There are certain technological failures. I'm not able to do my assignments. I'm not able to do work on my laptop. Some kind of technological failures has taken place. All these create stress in our life. However, we have internal stressors also. I said that internal stressors could be controlled better, like lifestyle choices, negative self-talk, mind traps, and personality traits. Just have a look at some of these lifestyle choices. It's all up to you whether you want to use something such as caffeine, any kind of drug, alcohol, smoking. It's all up to you. It's your lifestyle. Lack of sleep. You don't want to sleep over the entire night. Rather, you sleep during the daytime. Overloaded schedule. It's all up to you. What do you want to do with your life? Negative self-talk. It's one of the biggest problems that we face. We live with the pessimistic thinking. We keep on thinking negative. Yes, I cannot do this. No, I cannot. We create barriers for ourselves. We criticize ourselves. We analyze whatever I have done. Maybe this is not okay. Or we analyze other people also. We keep on analyzing. We keep on revisiting the same scenario, same event again and again in our thoughts. There is clutter in our mind just because of this reason. We are living with pessimism, self-criticism, and over-analysis of certain things. Hence, we are in some kind of mind traps. We have unrealistic expectations from the world, sometimes from ourselves as well. We are not realistic in our setting our goals. We take certain things very personally. Someone has said something to me and I did not like it and I felt very bad about it. And this person should not have done like that. We keep on giving certain rationals like this and we take the things very personally. We also indulge in all or none thinking. Either it should happen or it should not happen at all. Why has it happened in my life? It's not worth living. It's all or none thinking. Exaggeration. We create the mountains. We create it in our head. It's not something which is actually existing. We keep on exaggerating things. We don't want to change ourselves. There's no flexibility. We are very rigid in our thoughts. I want to be like this, so I have to live my life like this only. People who draw certain boundaries for themselves and do not want to cross those boundaries, it is just because they are rigid at their thinking. At times, people with certain personality traits also experience great stress. There are individual differences when people experience stress. No two people are alike. Some people are perfectionists. They want everything to be perfect. So world cannot be perfect. It cannot be as per our expectations. So what are we doing? What injustice are we doing to ourselves in that case? We are expecting too much from ourselves. We are trying to create that perfection in life, which is not just possible. We want everything to be done meticulously. It's just not possible. Being human, we are likely to commit certain errors. People could be workaholics. They don't even care about their health, their body, their schedule, their relationships. They just keep on doing work. They carry on with day and night with some kind of work, and they do not give up under any circumstances. It creates a lot of stress in them. And they want other people to be the followers. They want them to do the same thing as they are doing. Now, we have talked about these stressors, but a question arises, is stress always really bad? Or some amount of stress is good as well? All we can say is stress is negative as well as positive. Talking about the negative stress, something which creates distress in us is negative. It is something which creates those minor conditions in us, which develops headaches, some kind of digestive problems, skin complaints like pimples, rashes, and so on, insomnia, ulcers. It's just because of distress that we experience. It's the negative stress. If it is not treated timely, not handled timely, not managed, we might experience its harmful effect in terms of mental, physical, and the spiritual health. The good side is eustress, the positive stress. It has some positive effect also. It motivates the people. It generates awareness. It provides some kind of stimulation to cope up with the challenging situations. We feel like acting towards the life events. We are full of hope. It gives us a sense of urgency, and we get mentally alert, ready to fight with that kind of situation. And we are ready to confront those threatening situations. So distress could be harmful, eustress could be helpful for us. So stress is definitely not always bad. We are more concerned about the distress. Its symptoms are manifested through the physical aspects, mental aspects, behavioral, as well as the emotional. These are some of the physical symptoms. If you just come across someone who is showing these kind of patterns, if you observe them, they have all of a sudden you find that the person has started feeling there's change in the sleep pattern, headaches, fatigue, sweating and trembling, fainting, palpitations, and so on. If you come across a person with all these physical symptoms, the chances are the person is experiencing distress. So if someone asks you, are you experiencing stress? Please try to notice your physical symptoms. When a person is stressed, it's probable that the person is not able to concentrate. Focus problem is there. Memory lapses takes place. This is something which is very important for the student. lack of concentration, memory lapse, difficulty in making decision, confusion, disorientation, panic attacks. Just imagine this situation when you are there in the examination hall and you are about writing your answers. And all of a sudden you feel that you have come across the stressful symptoms. And all of a sudden everything is erased from the mind and you fail to, your mind goes blank and you fail to write down anything. So it is so disheartening, disappointing for the student. These are certain behavioral changes which you might have come across. All of a sudden the person will start using certain substances, like they start smoking, they start using alcohol or some other drugs. You find person to be restless, fidgeting, biting the nails, eating something, or excessively or not eating at all. Appetite changes do take place. We also come across bouts of depression. Person gets impatient. There is fits of rage, anger, because you are not able to handle the things. You get tearful. No one has said anything to you, but still you feel so bad about the things that are happening in your life that you appear to be gloomy. You remain tearful. You experience as if your personal hygiene has deteriorated. You do not go according to the trend. You do not wear the good clothes. You do not comb your hair. You stop taking care of yourself. It's just because of the emotional imbalance that you come across. All this is important. This is the toxic side, because if you neglect the distress that you are experiencing, though stress in itself is not an ailment, but it can create certain illnesses as severe as cardiovascular diseases, asthma, diabetes, digestive disorders, ulcers, skin complaints such as psoriasis, headaches and migraines, and depression. So, my dear students, it's important we help ourselves. Nobody comes to our rescue when we are determined to remain in that particular condition. So we must determine that I must come out of those stressful situations. I must learn how to handle those stressful situations, or how I should react to the situations that are creating stress in me. So first thing that you can do is you can recognize the problem. People do not pay attention to it at all. They do not recognize what could be the source of stress. Remember that recognizing the source of negative stress does not mean that you are weak. It does not mean that you cannot cope up. It is just a way to identify the problem and plan the measures to overcome it. You must plan changes. They make a lot of difference in life. Now the question arises, when we are talking about stress management, can we really control stress? Yes, we have ABC strategy for that. First, we have to raise level of awareness about the stressful situation. Identify your triggers. Try to identify what causes you stress. It cannot be just the same thing for everyone. For example, you may say that I skip a meal and this creates stress for me. When I don't take my breakfast, I feel more stressful. When I have to wait in line, I feel more stressful. When I am very hungry, I feel stressful. When I have a pressing deadline, this is one of the very common situations. You are given some deadline, you have to submit assignment, you have to prepare yourself for some interview, and you have that pressing deadline that might create stress in you. So, my dear participants, identify your triggers. the list can be exhaustive. You have to prepare your own list, develop a list by yourself, write down all those triggers which create those changes in you, those physical changes, those emotional changes. Try to identify that, note it down somewhere, and make a hierarchy out of it, that which is the most important thing, which is the most important trigger in your life that might create stress for you. So what do you do when you feel stress? To be more precise, how do you react? I hope that you don't take to smoking. You don't drink alcohol. You don't use illegal drugs, because this is something which is, we can say, failure to cope appropriately. This is maladaptive patterns. You might react in such a way that you start eating more or less. You spend more time sleeping. You eat junk food. You don't want to cook by yourself. You don't want to prepare your meals. You plan to get more and more of junk food. At times, you might feel that you don't want to interact with anyone. So you start avoiding your friends and family. You spend more time watching TV in isolation. And maybe you use social media excessively, which is, again, harmful for you. So try to identify what is triggering stress in you, and then how do you feel stress? How do you react to it? Second strategy is bringing balance. See, there is a very thin line between the positive and the negative stress. If you do not handle the negative stress, positive stress might be suppressed by the negative stress. So identify that how can you cope with it before it actually becomes negative. The positive stress might become negative. For example, you are preparing yourself for exam. Some amount of stress is experienced. That's good. Because if you don't feel stress at all, you will not prepare. You will not feel motivated to prepare for your exam. But if it is becoming excessive, that now you cannot read at all, you're feeling concentration problems, try to identify why is it happening with you. Third strategy is to control. Most important. This is something which is related to the management. Try to identify what can you do to help yourself. You have to combat the negative effects of stress. Stress has taken place. You are experiencing it. Now you have to control it. So there are three major techniques using which you can control the stress. You may either wish to change your thinking. You may wish to change your behavior. You may wish to change your lifestyle. Or you may wish to use all the three strategies. You can change your thinking by reframing the things. Something, you just change your outlook to the life, the way, something which makes you feel better, reframe the things in that way. For example, you say that I cannot live without doing social media. Reframe it. It's all right if once in a while I do not check my WhatsApp status or Facebook messages. It's all right. I've reframed. So there are different ways to interpret the things. Sometimes when we react to the situation without thinking much about it, our responses are spontaneous. We are impulsive. So give some time to yourself. Think about that situation and reinterpret that. Reframing will definitely not change the reality. Suppose somebody has passed away in the family. During the COVID situation, this is what is happening very commonly. Suppose somebody has passed away. Now you cannot bring that person back. Now reframe the situation. It's the reality. Just think what can be done, what has happened to the soul of that individual. Just think about it in that way. See the things in the different light. and you will feel less stressful. Positive thinking is very important. You will not be able to overcome the sense of dejection, despair, or failure unless you start thinking positively. So positive thinking doesn't mean, yes, I can do this. It means being positive. Positive thinking means that you are focusing on your strengths. And I'm too sure that everybody has one or the other strength. You are rather you have a treasury within yourself. You have some gems within you. You have to dig out those gems from that mind, and you have to identify them. For example, some of you might be very good at singing. Some of you might be good at painting. Some of you might be very compassionate. Some of you might be full of gratitude. Some of you might be very wise. So try to identify your strengths. Focus on that. Look for those opportunities where you can make certain impact in this world. Don't concentrate much on what you can't do. Concentrate on what you can do. Concentrate on your opportunities. Look for those opportunities that can actually bring change in your life. Be assertive. It's not always possible to manage stress, and not possible to manage the people, because people come up with their own way of life. All you can do is you can be confident to yourself. You can communicate no to the people when you don't want to do certain things. You're not supposed to do everything that people ask you to do. Communicate, be assertive, put across your demands, tell others that what you want in your life. Both verbal and non-verbal communication might help you. Try to organize yourself. Set up a list in which you can structure the things in such a way that you prioritize your objectives, your duties, your activities. Put the most manageable goals in the lower rung and move ahead towards the difficult goals slowly and slowly. Don't overload your mind. Overloading will lead to a sort of chaos in your mind. It will be full of clutter. What happens when we put a lot many things on table, on your study table? What would happen? You will not be able to sort out the things. You will not be able to take out the things that you require when you actually need them. So same thing happens with your mind. So don't create that chaos in your mind. For a student, time management is very important to organize the things. What must be done? What should be done? What would you like to do? Cut out time wasting, like on social media, on certain things like driving, just like that. Cut out time wasting. Learn to drop all those activities which are really unimportant to you. Keep it in mind that activities are important or not important. It all depends upon you. Nobody can tell you. You can only identify by yourself whether it is important for you or not. Say no. Say no to the things that you don't want to do. Be assertive and delegate the things to others, the things that you don't want to do by yourself. Assign those things to someone else. Plan your day ahead. Don't go unplanned. Set those goals which you think you can actually achieve. You must not waste time making excuses for not doing something. Think about what you can actually do. Don't think about that. Maybe I cannot prepare for the exam just because of this reason. So don't waste time making such excuses. Do something about it. Another important way to deal with stress is ventilation. Surround yourself with the people who are supportive to you. The friends, the colleagues, the people who help you whenever you need them. not the toxic people, the people who are good to you. At times, just saying the things that you feel are helpful in relieving the stress. Not only that, if you don't come across the people, enough number of people who are there for you to provide you enough of support, you may write down in a diary. But keep it in mind, when you write it down in your diary, don't reread that. You will not revisit that. You will not read it again and again. After writing it down, set a time limit. For a week, I'm going to keep it in my diary page. And after that, I'm going to tear it off. Develop some sense of humor. It also helps in reducing stress. It applies both at home as well as at your college. It relieves the muscular tension. When we are tensed, our muscles, facial expressions are also tensed. So when we use good sense of humor, it relieves muscular tension. It also improves in breathing. Very importantly, it pumps some endorphins into the bloodstream, which is helpful in killing certain pains in our body. Divert and distract. Something which is creating excessive stress in you, take time out, give some time to it, move away from that situation, get away from those situations as much as possible, realistically. Don't solve the problem the way you have been solving earlier. Try to reduce your stress level, calm down at that moment, and think logically. You have to think. Without thinking impulsively, you are not going to behave in a given situation. Changing lifestyle is important, something which is beneficial for you otherwise as well. Exercise, set up some routine, pay some time to leisure activities. Be watchful of if you are indulged in smoking or alcohol use. Pay attention to your diet. Take a nutritious diet. Well-balanced diet is important. Spend some time on relaxation activities which enhance relaxation in you. Maybe you would like to travel. Maybe you would like to go for holidaying. Take out some time for yourself. Sleep. Sleep is important. 6 to 8 hours of sleep normally is important for each and every one. So it also helps in beating stress. Not only this, there are certain alternatives to what we have just now looked at. We can use some kind of medicine, which I generally don't suggest anyone to have. Of course, counseling and psychotherapy could be helpful. We must seek out help as much as possible, because it is not something which is going to demean you, make you feel bad. Spend time in relaxation, meditation, massage, yoga, acupuncture, herbalism, pet therapy. Spend time with pets. Now I'm going to just give you a few tips how we can help ourselves in 1 minute each. Suppose you are experiencing headaches because of stress. So these are some of the activities which I have written over here. Breathe. Breathe slowly. When you are breathing, when you are inhaling, count up to 5. Slowly breathe in and slowly breathe out. You can use shoulder roll. These are certain micro exercises which we generally use. Like, just have a look at this. This is how we do shoulder roll. Just join your hands and do the shoulder roll. And you will feel that you are able to relax your muscles, your tension in the shoulders is relieved, and your head also feels relieved. You can also do some neck roll. Keep it in mind that you have to do it only for 1 minute each. You can choose whatever suits you, depending upon where you are. You can do self-massage on the sides of the neck, in the lower direction. A cup of calm is also important. If not anything else, though we should not be taking caffeine, but yes, some sipping into the hot drink, which is maybe you take some mint leaves, boil them, and then you sip those. It will help you in relieving the headache. If you want to achieve calm, apart from breathing, visualize calm. How do you visualize calm? You have to close your eyes. You have to imagine. You have to imagine, you have to look. You have to come out of your body. You have to imagine yourself and visualize that you are absolutely calm. You feel, just visualize as if you are a small baby who is in a deep sleep. You might like to take a shower, spend some time in that. You may like to count up or count down, count up to 10 very slowly, and then reverse counting could be done up to 10. You may also release the muscle tension. One of the checks is like standing posture check. In that, what you can do, just imagine that you have some kind of string running across your spine and you have pulled it, right? You just imagine like that. And the moment you realize that, just try to stretch it as much as possible. And then you will realize that, okay, I'm bending a little bit, and you will immediately become erect. So the moment you check your posture while sitting, standing, immediately you relieve your muscle tension. Prepare for a stressful event. Be ready for it. State out. Tell, speak out. What do you think might create stress in you? Practice mindfulness. Let the thoughts cross your mind. Just let them cross your mind. Don't analyze them. Just be aware that these thoughts are coming to me. Listen to some relaxing music, some instrumental music, which is most of the times relaxing. You may also distract yourself from the stressful situation. There is a cube which is available in the market. It is called as Rubik's Cube. You may use it, just set some time for it and arrange the colors in that particular block. That will distract you. You may use some time for cleaning your phone. Delete all the extra messages from your phone. You may spend time in doing dishes at your home. You may embrace your green thumb. You might like to do some gardening. You may like to draw some picture. You might, because all these things help you in relieving stress. Hans Selye has said, adopting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into a positive one. So our attitude change is required. We need to focus on that. Start caring for yourself. People will not care for you. You have to care for yourself. Thank you for listening. Any questions, my dear students, my dear participants? The floor is open.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session. Self-assessment is a way to know how to proceed, and the way you practiced it with students is really appreciable, ma'am. So I think if there's any query from student side, and if you want to ask any question, the house is open for discussion, Vita. So you can ask your queries.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, बच्चे बोलिए.
Ma'am, do you think that self-love can be helpful in reducing stress?
See, excessive of anything is bad. Self-love, if we are loving ourselves, that means we are caring for ourselves. So it is definitely helpful in reducing stress. But if you love yourself excessively, that means you might become narcissist. That means you are just concerned about yourself and you neglect or ignore the needs of others. So we have to create a balance between the two.
Ma'am, is overthinking a part of stress?
Yes, if we keep on spending time thinking about the situation again and again, definitely it creates stress.
Ma'am, how can we solve it?
By practicing some meditation techniques, you can solve this. You can simply try to assume the zero state. There is a state in mindfulness which is called a zero state. Try to attain that. In that, what happens, we have to feel as if there is nothing inside the head. And once you are able to accomplish that, your overthinking is stopped. So you need to practice. Without practice, it is not possible to attain these things.
Ma'am, is it important to stay motivated all the time? Because many people tell if you are overthinking or you having some sort of stress, you have to be positive all the time and you have to stay motivated all the time.
Very good question indeed. See, it's not possible to remain motivated every time, in every situation. And it's perfectly okay, normal, if we are not motivated in some of the situations. Rather, I must say that we are not striving to become perfectionists. So it's all right. For in some of the situations, we might feel our level of motivation has gone down, and again we can gear up. We can make more efforts, and we can come back to our optimum level of motivation. So it's not necessary that we remain motivated in every situation, in every walk of life.
Ma'am, do you think feeling stressed to some extent is important?
I think that it is important for everybody. Stress is important. We should not experience distress over the prolonged period of time. Yes, definitely, stress is important. Optimum level of stress is important.
Ma'am, like the last 2 years have been constantly so exhausting for everyone, like emotionally, physically, and mentally. Do you think it's easy to overcome from all those things easily?
Nothing comes in packages, and for everything we have to make some efforts. For some of the people, the things might be difficult, not that easy to overcome the situations, but yes, if we make some efforts, we will be able to overcome them.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, my dear.
Thank you, Pragati. There's one question from Muhammad Mabashir. I think it's already answered. Ma'am, is positive stress good for us?
You're very right. I've just said that. Yes, positive stress is important. We must try to maintain it as much as possible.
Yes, any other question from a student side? There's one question from Adnan. How to break habits, ma'am?
For breaking habits, it is important that first we identify that what are the problematic behavior patterns that you would like to bring change in. Right? After that, look for the alternatives that you can apply for that particular situation. For example, smoking is a habit, and it is a maladaptive pattern also. And if you want to bring change in that, think about how you can make yourself a better individual. Maybe you want to do some exercise rather than spending time in smoking activity. You can spend time in exercise. So you have to chalk out by yourself that what is more important to you and which particular habit would you like to bring change. And one of the very important things is that bringing change in habit is difficult in case the habits are set in the childhood. If it is newly formed habit, it is easier to get rid of.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. There's another question from Manzoor Ahmed. Ma'am, is anxiety, panic attack, and depression linked to stress?
Yes, certainly it is linked to. These are the three conditions: stress, anxiety, and depression. These are linked to each other. Yes, but if we are able to manage our stress level, then definitely we are able to manage the anxiety as well as depression. And there are certain psychotherapies which enhance our behavior. We are able to have better control of the situations. We are better able to realize that what kind of capacities we can apply whenever we come across these situations, wherever the stress is experienced. So it's better to seek some kind of help when we are under these three conditions. Yes, they are definitely interlinked.
There's strong line of question, ma'am. Ma'am, how to change this question from Mansimran Kaur? How to change one habit with other one?
The question is not clear to me.
Yes. Actually, she wanted to say that how to change one habit with another one. Like you are having some bad habit, how to convert it into some other good habit, how to replace it with some other good habit.
It's one and the same thing, that what you have to just identify that what is doable for you, right? So suppose you feel that you can do some exercise, right? What kind of exercise do you think you can do? Don't make the decisions on the basis of what other people tell you. Just chalk out that what is most appropriate for you, and plan the activities by yourself. Try to look into your strengths, look into your potentials. Some of you might be good at painting, some of you might be good at dancing. You can use those skills, those activities to break those bad habits.
Thank you, ma'am. There is another question from Ashish Dutt. Ma'am, there are a lot of students who couldn't control his or her feelings after cheated by someone. At that time, what we have to do?
See, being cheated, is it my perception or it has really happened? First, we have to analyze that. Secondly, if it is not just the perception and actually somebody has cheated on you, what you can do, you can learn to identify that what kind of individual has done that to you. Try to identify the traits of that individual, try to identify the situation in which it has happened, and plan for the future in such a way that whenever you come across the similar situation, you do not fall into the trap.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, there are so many questions, but I'll take only two because I think we are already reaching out of time. So there's another question. Is phone phobia related to stress?
Pardon, ma'am, is it phone phobia you said?
Yeah, phone phobia.
Yes. So people who have the fear of, I think whosoever has asked this question, the phone phobia actually refers to that what if my phone is lost? What if I'm not able to check my messages? Definitely it is related to stress. It is nosophobia. It is called as nosophobia. So phobia of losing the phone, having an access to the phone. Yes, that's definitely when a person experiences stress, the person feels this kind of phobia.
Thank you, ma'am. And the last question is, I have a habit to overexciting in any situation. How can I manage it?
Relax, spend some time on your thoughts, manage your emotions, watch your feelings. The moment you will start using the 1 minute exercises, just like, for example, you can use count up and count down for this particular problem. You can slowly count up to 10 and then reverse counting can be done, and you will experience that all that stress that you are feeling because of this situation, it will be vanished.
Thank you, ma'am. And one last question, because 2-3 persons have asked the same question. How to remain optimistic even in failures?
See, nothing, it is all in our head, whether it is the failure or it is the success. We might assess the situations according to our own potential. So revisit your thoughts, think about your failures. If you feel that it is a failure, think about it, that how it has happened and why it has happened and what can you do about it. So after assessing, plan your strategy to overcome that particular failure.
Thank you, ma'am. Very well answered. I think student must have satisfied with the answers. And okay, students, if there will be any other question from your side, because there's a long list of questions, so we'll send it to ma'am later on. I think it's fine, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You may
okay.
note down my email ID. I will be glad to answer the students.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. I'll share the email ID with you. You can ask question directly to ma'am also.
Yes.
So now I request Professor Samita Sharma to please present a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shakha ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, ma'am.
A very good morning to one and all. I, Samita Sharma, on behalf of Team of Psychological Counseling Cell, GGM Science College, express my deep gratitude to invited speaker, Dr. Sarita Sood, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, University of Jammu, with his wonderful thoughts on stress management. Ma'am, you have very well explained about all the factors causing stress and how one can overcome stress by following certain strategies as explained by you, like by changing your behavior, by changing your lifestyle, and various other alternatives and tips regarding helping oneself. Ma'am, I hope all the participants learned a lot, many ways of managing stress. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to our worthy principal, sir, Dr. Ravindra Tikku, who is patron of this college, for his moral support and able guidance, for providing us this wonderful opportunity to be on this platform and deliberate upon this sensitive issue during this pandemic situation. I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Poonam Kamotra, advisor of Psychological Counseling Cell, for her valuable suggestions. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Shakha, who is convener of Psychological Counseling Cell, for making wonderful efforts for organizing this webinar along with her team. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the faculty members and students for being a part of this webinar and contributing towards making this webinar a great success. With vote of thanks, we come to close of this webinar. Thank you everyone for being with us. Over to you, Shakha ma'am.
Thank you, Samita ma'am. And once again, thank you, Sarita ma'am, for saying yes to our request. It was a wonderful session and definitely our students will get benefit out of it. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll keep this session live for 10-15 minutes for attendance sheet. All students who want to fill the attendance sheet can fill it here only. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. May I leave, ma'am?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. और क्या हाल है समिता मैम?
फाइन मैम, आप सुनाएं?
बढ़िया बढ़िया, अच्छा हो गया, मतलब really, हाँ, really a wonderful resource person also, ma'am.
Yes, we have really shared many beautiful ways that how one can overcome stress.
Exactly. अगर बच्चों ने ध्यान से सुना होगा ना, तो it would be very helpful for them.
Yes, definitely.
Self-assessment test was also there, and the ways how we can come out of stress. No, although some of the questions remain unanswered because of time constraint. So, बच्चे सारे बच्चे सुन लें. Ma'am has shared her email ID. So you can put your questions there, post your questions there on email ID also. Otherwise, we have another session also tomorrow. So you can keep those questions with you and you can ask those questions again to the second resource person who are going to join tomorrow. He's also a very learned and experienced person. Okay. So I hope everybody has filled the attendance sheet. Sarabjit Karim. Sarabjit ma'am, how are you? Asha ma'am, Sarab ma'am.
Good, I'm good.
Sarab ma'am, सुना आपने session?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, I was there.
चलिए ठीक है, कल भी ज्वाइन करिएगा मैम। चलिए थैंक यू, कल भी ज्वाइन करिएगा मैम।
Okay, okay, I'll be there.
हाँ
मैम
कल वाले भी बहुत अच्छे। हाँ जी बेटा।
tomorrow also about stress.
Tomorrow's basically again about how to deal with mental stress, and that is basically in association with pandemic COVID-19. So that is also for students only. Whatever you want to ask, you can ask there. That resource person is also a learned person and dealing with students only. He is also dealing with students only. ठीक है? तो अपनी अटेंडेंस शीट सारे बच्चे भर लीजिएगा प्लीज। बाद में कोई ये मत कहना मैम फील नहीं करी हमने, बिकॉज इट वुड बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी टू शेयर इन ग्रुप। फिर वो बच्चे भी भरते हैं जिन्होंने ज्वाइन नहीं किया हुआ था। तो प्लीज आप सारे बच्चे जो हैं वो अटेंडेंस शीट भर ले। मैं बार बार बोल रही हूँ, मैंने 2-3 बार शेयर करी है। इफ यू वांट मी टू शेयर इट अगेन, आई विल शेयर इट अगेन। ठीक है? I'll share it again, beta. I'm going to share the attendance sheet again. जो जो भर रहा है वो they can leave the meeting. कल प्लीज सभी बच्चे 11 बजे जरूर ज्वाइन करिएगा, because it will be very difficult for me to otherwise give you 2 days webinar certificate. But I want everybody should get that. So 11 o'clock is tomorrow's session. Everybody please join by 11:45. ठीक है? 11:45 पे आप ज्वाइन कर जाएं तो बहुत बढ़िया।
थैंक यू शाखा मैम।
आशा मैम क्या हाल है? मैंने आवाज लगाई 2 बार आपको। आई थॉट यू मस्ट बी बिजी समवेयर।
यस यस, नहीं नहीं बिजी नहीं थी मैम, जब समिता मैम से आप बात, सॉरी सरबजीत मैम से बात कर रही थी ना, इसीलिए
अच्छा
फिर मैंने कहा नहीं बीच में नहीं।
चलो ठीक है ठीक है। और कैसा रहा मैम सेशन?
वंडरफुल मैम, वंडरफुल, बहुत
हाँ।
अच्छा, बहुत इंफॉर्मेटिव था।
हाँ
बहुत अच्छा।
मुझे भी बहुत
नीड
इन्फॉर्मेटिव
ऑफ आर थी मैम।
मुझे भी यही लगा, बिकॉज उन्होंने बड़े आराम से और बड़े बेसिक लेवल पे आके उन्होंने सब कुछ एक्सप्लेन करा ना, मुझे भी बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग लगा।
यस मतलब बहुत टाइम बाद हुआ होगा कि पूरा का पूरा वेबिनार सुना मैम, अदरवाइज ऐसा होता नहीं है। बीच में इतना बोर हो जाना होता ना कि बंद कर देते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए, बट ये वाला इतना अच्छा था कि पूरा का पूरा सुना।
चलिए कल वाला भी अच्छा है, बट कल आप लोगों की कुछ की ड्यूटीज है आई सपोज।
हाँ कल ड्यूटी है एग्जाम मैम।
लेकिन एक काम यू कैन डू, बिकॉज वी हैव सेशन एट इनिशियली इट वाज एट 11:30। मेरे से गलती हुई, मैंने उसको प्रीपोन करा 11 पे कर दिया। तो इवन देन यू कैन ज्वाइन एट 11:30 बिकॉज एग्जाम विल बी ओवर बाय 11:30। मैंने अभी पढ़ा।
हाँ जी।
तो प्लीज जस्ट आफ्टर द एग्जाम डू ज्वाइन मैम, प्लीज पक्का ज्वाइन करिएगा।
ओके मैम, श्योर श्योर।
ठीक है? बाकी लोगों को भी कहना जो साथ में होंगे,
श्योर मैम।
क्योंकि आई डोंट थिंक 11:30 जब एग्जाम ओवर होता है ना तो हार्डली 5-10 मिनट्स वो लेते हैं वाइंड अप करने के लिए। तो यू कैन ज्वाइन एटलीस्ट फॉर 20 मिनट्स यू कैन। अदरवाइज भी हमारा 11 का टाइम है, तो 11:10 11:15 हो जाते हैं सेशन स्टार्ट होते हुए।
हाँ जी,
तो
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल
जैसे ही होगा तो प्लीज ज्वाइन करिएगा सभी। ठीक है?
श्योर मैम।
जिन बच्चों ने फॉर्म भर लिया, अपना अटेंडेंस शीट भर ली है, दे मे लीव बेटा, यू कैन लीव द मीटिंग। आशा मैम आप भी लीव कर सकते हैं। मैंने कहा यू कैन ऑल्सो लीव, आप कर लीजिए। समिता मैम यू कैन ऑल्सो लीव। आई विल कीप इट एज सच फॉर 10-15 मिनट्स सो दैट स्टूडेंट कैन फिल द अटेंडेंस शीट। आई विल वेट फॉर द लास्ट स्टूडेंट टू लीव द सेशन।
Okay ma'am, bye, take care ma'am, and thank you
bye bye
so much once again.
Bye bye, take care, bye bye। कोई बच्चा कुछ पूछना चाहता है, दे कैन आस्क, मैं भी इधर ही हूँ। Any student if want to ask any question, he or she
क्लासेस कब से स्टार्ट हो रही हैं?
क्लासेस का बेटा आ गया है। वेट अ मिनट, मुझे मोबाइल का ऑफ करने दो। एक सेकंड। क्लासेस का बेटा ऐसा तो आपका जो फॉर्मल ऑर्डर आया आपका, अच्छा एक सेकंड, मुझे लाइव चल रहा है, मैं वो भी बंद कर देती हूँ।